Good morning, afternoon, evening from wherever you are. It is official. We are starting this YouTube thing finally. I appreciate y'all for holding me accountable for months, maybe to a year, saying start the YouTube, start the podcast, this and that. But I'll be honest, I was procrastinating because I was getting so caught up in the short form content on TikTok, and it was so easy. And TikTok and YouTube is a little bit more, you got to put a little bit more work in. And I was running away from it. But 2026, everybody has New Year resolutions and all of that. And this was one of mine, was just to dedicate and commit to YouTube and starting this podcast and everything. So I don't even have a name for it yet. To be honest, I need the help from you all, from the ones that have been rocking with me for years on TikTok. Even if you're new, you know, I need help. So this is the beginning of everything. Everything is going to be very authentic. Y'all know how I am with all my content is going to be authentic. So I also need y'all help with the name. And to be honest, I'm going to roll with whatever the majority is. But we're here. I've been on YouTube before. Just quick background, very quick. 2020, I was on YouTube. I was monetized, doing some other stuff. That's why the following and subscribers is where it's at. And I think 2021 stopped. I was with my boy doing it. Work stuff got involved, so I had to go another route. But we're back. So I scrubbed the whole YouTube page. I got I think my Amazon video, I left it up just so y'all could see that. Yeah, I was on there doing a lot of different things, but we're back in 2026, starting strong. So let's do it, man. I wanted to go straight into the Charlie Kirk investigation. A lot of stuff has been going on with the Charlie Kirk investigation. As you all know, I've been heavy on it with both my pages on TikTok. And a lot of stuff been going on. Obviously, I've been following Candace. That has been the main thing. I've been following Baron Coleman, Trigger Smart, Ian Carroll, a couple of guys on Twitter as well. I can't remember your names. But once I do, I will definitely give credit to where credit is due. Candace, just a quick backstory. A lot of people have Candace misunderstood. A lot of people think whoever follows Candace or listens to Candace is in some type of cult. We do whatever Candace says, but it has never been like that. One, I'm a grown man. I don't need to follow anything anybody does. But Candace, I have been following Candace for a while, probably since like 2018, 19. And to be honest, I seen her and Charlie Kirk a lot then, but I never actually focused on who Charlie Kirk was. I was really locked into Candace's content. But I've been a Candace fan for a minute. I love the way she thinks. I love the fact that she will stand 10 toes on her opinion, even if it is against the majority. And that is exactly how I am as well. So I've always been rocking with her. So once this Charlie Kirk thing went down, it's unfortunate that it happened to her best friend. But I knew out of everybody on the internet, she was going to be the one to take this thing to the next level, to have the same opinions that I do. And so I was locked in from the beginning. And so I just want to give that quick rundown because a lot of people have been misunderstood on the people who listen to Candace, if that makes sense. But let's hop straight into the Charlie, because y'all see the title of it is that Charlie Kirk was in an arranged marriage. I fully believe that off of a lot of details that we'll go over today. But first thing first, I want to just hop into what Candace has, quick up to date. I want to catch anybody up. If you haven't been watching, you can go to my TikTok and see all the things that have started from the beginning. So I'm kind of going to start current present day on what we have and things that are relevant to this day. But Candace dropped a angle of Charlie Kirk from behind that we actually haven't seen before. And I want y'all to look at this really quick. So this is an angle of Charlie Kirk from behind of when the impact first happened with whatever happened, because we don't know. And it's very interesting because I will admit this debunked one of my theories, which was that something must have happened from behind. I was assuming that maybe he was shot from behind, because why was that guy so quick to remove the camera from behind Charlie's seat? That didn't make any sense to me. So I was thinking that he was shot from behind and that was the entry wound, and then the exit wound was coming from the neck, which is what we all saw. Now, I will say that is completely debunked from these pictures, because from these pictures, I don't really see anything. I don't see anything. I don't see an entry wound. I don't see anything that's coming from the back of the head. Now, I will say what Candace's point was is that There's no blood anywhere. Back, nothing. Head, nothing. So this also debunks the 30-06 narratives that the feds have tried to give us. You know, the original narrative that he was shot with a 30-06. There's no exit wound at all. So now with this picture, we know that it was just an entry wound that we all saw, and that was it. You know, bullet was lodged in his neck, whatever it was. But there's nothing going on in the back, which is insane to me because, again, if you're somebody that doesn't believe, or if you're somebody that believes that Charlie Kirk was shot with a 30-06, I don't know how much more information you need to understand that that is not the case. I really don't. You have so much evidence. They always talk about how the feds and people, Erica, the feds, all these people have mounds of evidence that Tyler Robinson was the one that pulled the trigger. But it's quite frankly the opposite. There's mounds of evidence that it was not a 30-06, which would mean that the gun that Tyler Robinson had was not the gun that was used, which would mean that Tyler Robinson was not the one that pulled the trigger, which would mean that you don't have the guy who actually did it. It's a domino effect. Once the bullet is debunked, the whole thing is blown up. That's why I don't really understand the people who keep on trying to tell me and other people that Tyler Robinson is the guy. And that was one thing that Erica has said from the beginning. We got our guy. We got our guy. You don't. You don't. And you know what? I was on Erica's side. You can go check my main page videos on TikTok. I was on Erica's side from the beginning at first. You know, the first day or two, maybe a week, I was on Erica's side. When, you know, the whole grieving, the whole her on stage, I forgive him, all of that. I was on her side. I really was. But then as things started to happen, as the narrative started to collapse, that's when I realized she spoke more. When everything at first made sense, she didn't say much. Everybody was still trying to figure stuff out. She didn't say much. They thought they had it in the bag. But once things started to come out and things started to not make sense, all of a sudden, here she is, talking more, showing face more, going on a press tour. That's when I was like, something's off. You weren't talking as much. Now all of a sudden you want to get involved. Now all of a sudden you want to tell everybody to stop asking questions. Really? You wasn't saying nothing when all this first went down. Now when somebody's saying, hey, hold on, that don't really make any sense. A 30-06. Then, you know, a lot of this started off with the Andrew Kovac saying that the surgeon, you know, said that Charlie had the Superman neck. His neck was made of steel. He ate good vegetables. Drank a lot of water. I don't know. Ate a lot of protein. That's when I was like, nope. That's when everybody started saying, hold on now. That doesn't make any sense at all, because no surgeon would tell you that, for one. Two, now you're trying to tell me that it was some type of miracle from God that this 30-06 that will go through concrete walls, huge slabs of meat and bones, was able to be stopped by a neck. So the whole internet went crazy and they just started shooting into anything with 30-06. That's the beautiful thing about the internet. You can't get away with things on the internet anymore. You can't. Back in the day, you could. If this happened back in the day, like in the JFK days, this would be an easy closed case. They'll be able to put it on Tyler Robinson. Nobody can do nothing about it because we don't have the internet. It would not have been 2,000 phones pointing at Charlie when this first went down. Nobody would have been able to debunk anything. We would have had to go with the Fed narrative. But unfortunately, the internet has been created. The internet has evolved. That is something that the feds, and I believe, you know, all of the higher people, they hate the internet. They really do. Because it's their biggest enemy. They can't get away with the BS that they've been doing in the past. So their worst thing, like Candace has said before, their worst thing to do was to execute Charlie publicly. That's where they messed up at, because now you have 2,000 cameras out, which means 2,000 angles. Now people can do their own private investigations. Now people can see the things that you're saying, that the feds are saying, contradicts and doesn't make any sense. Now, when somebody actually brings that to the internet, that person can get millions of views and millions of people to agree and understand where they're coming from. You couldn't do that back in the day. Even if you thought something was off, you're not going to reach an audience like the internet can do today. But now you can come up with something. You can come up with something that's false. You can come up with something that's a lie. But if you post it on the internet now and enough people believe what you're saying, that false narrative could also be pushed to millions of people. You can't get away with anything in 2025, in 2026. And that's where a lot of people in the feds have messed up at by doing this publicly. So here we are in 2026, and people still are not buying the Fed slop that has happened. My apologies. I had maintenance come and fix something, and it made me lose my train of thought now. However, point is that I was getting to on how Charlie Kirk was in an arranged marriage. Now, we received information from Candace the other day on how Erica Kirk has lied about how she met Tyler Boyer. Originally, she said, I met Tyler Boyer at the Trump rally in 2015. But I can't play the clip because I don't want to mess up any audio yet. I'm getting back in the game. I don't want to, play something and it's muted or something like that. But Tyler Boyer said on stage at Charlie Kirk's memorial that Erica called him during the 2015 Trump rally or leading up to it. And she asked him, how could she help? And he said, you know what? I'll place you behind Trump at the 2015 Trump rally. So how do you meet somebody at the Trump rally when you called them before the Trump rally? And you called them in a comfortable way. You knew this person. It's not like you were saying, hi, my name is Erica, introducing yourself, and I'm trying to, whatever. This is not an introduction phone call. You knew Tyler Boyer already. So the fact that she lied again, and I wish I had a list of lies. I might talk about that in a little bit with the list of lies Erica has told. But the fact that she lied again about something so simple makes me wonder and question her. Now, we talk about before, I don't want to jump ahead because I know that Fort Huachuca is another conversation. I don't want to lose my train of thought with what I'm getting at, but I definitely want to hit on Fort Huachuca about with Erica again. But with Tyler Boyer, 2015, she said she met Tyler Boyer. That's impossible. 2015 Trump rally, that's impossible. Because the internet is crazy. Once again, we've been talking about how the internet does not let anything go, nor do they forget. So she's on stage behind Trump at the Trump rally. Now, this is interesting because, I always wondered, why was she so intimate with Trump during Charlie's memorial? Y'all remember when she was hugged all up on him, on the shoulder, on his chest. Trump low-key was like, all right, you could chill. But she was locked in. That's because she's known Trump for a very long time. This is 2015. This is over a decade. Now, she may not know Trump personally, but I believe she does because we all know that she was Miss Arizona. She was in some type of pageant that was owned by Trump. She's known Trump for a very long time. So that explains her intimacy level with Trump at the memorial service. But then it's crazy to me because the more you think about it and the more you talk about it, it makes you truly believe that Charlie was in an arranged marriage. Erica was assigned to Charlie. Erica was also not the only one at the Trump rally. Her mother was too. So you can see Erica, you can see her mother, and then you can see Tyler Boyer. His head is in between these two heads. They're all at the Trump rally in 2015. So you're telling me, the first lie is that she met Tyler Boyer in 2015 at Trump rally. We know that's a lie based off of you know, the common knowledge that you don't meet somebody at the rally when you called them prior asking how can you help at the rally. But it just makes you wonder because that means she's known Tyler Boyer for a while. Tyler Boyer, if I'm not mistaken, is like the COO, I believe, of Charlie Kirk's company, Turning Point. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he holds a high position in Turning Point. So she knew Tyler Boyer before 2015, or maybe in the early years of 2015, before this Trump rally. Let's just say that, right? Let's just say worst case scenario or earliest case scenario is before the Trump rally, 2015. Tyler Boyer admits in his memorial that he convinced Charlie to move down from Chicago and start Turning Point in Arizona. Now, Turning Point, let's see when Turning Point started. So he started it in 2012. That's what Google says. However, Tyler Boyer convinced him to move Turning Point to Arizona. I think he said in 2018. I can't find the exact year, but I just know that Charlie is from Chicago. Tyler Boyer convinced Charlie to move his Turning Point to Arizona. However, this is still odd because Erica knew Tyler Boyer before she knew Charlie. So Tyler Boyer, fast forward, Charlie Kirk moves Turning Point to Arizona, right? This is Erica's home. Everything's in her backyard. Tyler Boyer's there already. All of that, right? Then Tyler Boyer hires everybody around Charlie. That's all weird to me. So it makes me, I can't help but to think that he also hired Charlie a wife. He also may have had a hand in Erica and Charlie's, the way they met. And I know that they have, other ways and they explain other ways on how they met and all that stuff. But I'm just saying all of it's tied together in some type of way. It's not a coincidence. And the fact that Erica knew Tyler Boyer before Charlie is just weird to me. And the fact that Tyler Boyer has hired all of the people around Charlie is also weird to me. So I do believe, at first, I didn't believe that Erica was assigned to Charlie at first, but I believe it now. I believe it all makes complete sense. All of these weird individuals that surround Charlie, including Erica, they're all weird. Tyler Boyer was pardoned by Trump last year. The guy is a fraud, like saying that he's somebody that is a criminal. I'm not sure. I think he was like voter fraud or something like that, but that was really a coincidence that I said that. But the guy's a criminal. And he's the head of Charlie's company. Now, I do think that Charlie was taken advantage of. I think that as a young kid, seeing the type of money that, they were describing where they could take Turning Point or the vision of it, the hands that were placed on Turning Point that can go to the next level. I think that they were taking advantage of a young kid and showing him the future, showing him the promised future of Turning Point. And I think it was hard to turn down for somebody like Charlie. It would be hard to turn down for anybody that's 18 plus, 18 years old, a kid. So I think that he got himself into something that was hard to get out of, clearly. Now, years down the road, here we are. But it was all planned, absolutely planned. Now, going into some of Erica's lies that she has told, which again, anybody that is wondering, every single day that Erica's innocent or this investigation, we're doing too much. Tyler Robinson's the guy. Stop overthinking it. Stop attacking the grieving widow. Look no further than the widow herself. She is the one that will continue to make everybody say, no, because of you, I think we're on the right path. Not because of anybody else. It's not because of Candace. Everybody loves to blame Candace for everything. Candace is not the only person talking about or covering this investigation. But people love to assume that she is, or not even assume, I don't know. People love to put the blame on her, that she is the reason everybody's against Erica. No. Let's take some accountability for once. Erica, this is your fault. This is her fault. She's the one that is doing this. She's the one that is making everybody say, I don't know about that. I don't know if that were me. You know how many widows have came forward and say, no, she's not acting normal. Whose fault is that? Now that's the widow's fault. They lost somebody similar as well. They lost their husband as well. Now they're saying, no, somebody like Erica, she's not acting like a grieving widow. Then they put the blame on the other grieving widows. No, y'all don't understand because y'all didn't lose somebody that was on the status of a Charlie Kirk. Losing somebody is losing somebody. It doesn't matter how much money somebody has, how much fame somebody has. To a wife, that is just her husband. To the world, that could be a public figure. But to a wife, that was her husband. So a grieving widow that has a husband that just worked a 9 to 5 should feel the same pain as Erica Kirk. But they try to gaslight you and make you seem that Erica is just different. She's the super widow. She just knows how to move on fast and give it to the Lord. That's what she loves to say, the Lord now. She doesn't like to say Jesus anymore. She loved to say that for a long time before when Charlie was alive. She doesn't say that at all now, if y'all haven't realized that. That also, I don't want to tangent, but that also makes me think about it was just a facade to begin with. We're learning about her past and learning that she's half Jewish. She has all these ties to Romania, all that, this, that, and third. I don't think she was a true Christian to begin with, but I think everybody knew that Charlie was. So that was part of the facade that she had to play. Be a Christian, strong believer, always talk about Jesus. Because now that he's gone, she don't talk about Jesus that much anymore. But this is all her fault. She brings this upon herself. She makes everybody look at her differently. Again, you're talking to somebody that was on her side for the first week or two. And she started speaking. She started going to public, appearances and press conferences and press runs and all that. And I was like, nah, something's off. Then what put the cherry on top was the CBS interview. That was a full-blown political launch, a hard launch. That wasn't about the grieving widow. They were asking her for her opinion on things that were happening around the world. Who cares? Since when has anybody cared about what Erica thinks about stuff that's going on around the world? They're asking her, what should a woman do to be, a boss babe and maybe a mother at the same time? They're asking her questions that you would ask a candidate running for a position, whether it's vice president, president, those presidential runs, those candidate runs, where they trying to just get a feel on who this person is and let's hear your opinion on this. That's how they were treating Erica Kirk. And I started realizing, this is way bigger than just losing your husband. You're launching a new career for yourself. But I guess that's my fault for realizing that. She has done it to herself. But then on top of that, she has lied about a lot of things as well. Andrew COVID, the one thing I could think of at the top of my head is that Andrew COVID, for one, has been drugged through the mud. All because of Erica. And Andrew COVID is fed up. I believe it. I don't think that Andrew COVID is able to take any more. He's been taking a lot of heat for Erica. A lot of things that have been going on, people have been saying, why would Andrew COVID do that? Why would Andrew COVID say that? The whole time, he's just the mouthpiece, he's the mouthpiece for Erica. Erica never comes out and says, I'm sorry, I was the one that said that. She never does that. Andrew just gets dragged through the mud. And then it turns out Erica was the one that said it. He was just speaking for her. He's fed up. He's gonna eventually give in, I think. I don't know when, but I don't think this is the normal Andrew Kovic right now. I think he's fed up. I know I would be. But it started off with the surgeon thing. He said the surgeon said that Charlie had a steel neck, Superman neck, whatever you want to call it. But then it started to come out that the surgeon never said that because he would have been violating HIPAA laws. You can't say anything about that. About any patient, I think, that died for like 50 years. You can't say anything like that. Especially somebody that's not even at the hospital. The surgeon's just not going to call Andrew Kovic and say what's going on. But then once that started coming out and falling apart, Turning Point turned, no pun intended, turned on Andrew Kovic. He's just going rogue. He's a crazy man. The surgeon never said that Andrew Kovic was lying. I know that ate Andrew Kovic up. I wouldn't be able to handle that. I wouldn't be able to handle somebody accusing me of lying, knowing that I wasn't the one that originally came up with the idea to put that on the internet or say that. I would be fed up. If I was Andrew, I would have been said, Erica, shut up. You was the one that told me to say that. And I can't take this no more. I can't take this any further. I'm really finna expose you. That's what I would have done. But clearly Andrew is being paid well enough to hold his tongue. Because then news broke by Candace, and it was Erica was the person who was on the phone, also with Andrew Kovic, but it was Erica who said the whole narrative that Charlie had a Superman neck. It was Eric who made up those words and had Andrew post it on X. That's sick. Now, I've always, not always, but lately I have been saying how sick of an individual Erica is. And I'm not changing that until proven otherwise. But it's sick because the surgeon never said that. So you lied on the surgeon. You lied on Andrew Kovic, and you allowed it to happen for weeks, maybe a month, until you were caught. And with you being caught, you still haven't said anything. She's silent for a reason. She can't say much. I couldn't imagine her speaking any more about this because they know the more she speaks on this situation, the worse she looks. So I don't think she'll ever say anything about it, but I'm always going to speak on it. She lied on Andrew Kovic. She lied on the surgeon. She was the one that did it. Now, what I imagine happened, and Baron Coleman said the same thing, what I imagine happened is Erica is already given a script. She's already given a narrative that she has to push. They called a hospital. What happened? Well, your husband was shot with something. Oh, was it 30-06? No, it's impossible. It wouldn't be a 30-06. He would have to have a neck of steel for a 30-06 bullet to be lodged in his neck. It would have been way worse than that. He would have had to be somebody like Superman for his neck to stop at 30-06. Oh, okay. Got it. Hey, everybody, he had a neck of steel because he had a Superman neck. His neck stopped at 30-06. It was a miracle. Because the surgeon probably said, yeah, it would have been an absolute miracle if his neck stopped that. Hey, everybody, it was a miracle that his neck stopped at 30-06. Surgeon said, hold on, I never said that. I never said that's what's happening. I said it would have been a miracle with the narrative that you're trying to tell me, but I'm telling you that's not the case. It wasn't a 30-06. But if it was, that would have had to have been a miracle for what you're suggesting. But I'm telling you, it's not. It's not a 30-06. And she ran with that and told the whole world what the doctor said if it was a 30-06. But it wasn't. She was the one that pushed it. He was just saying if it happened to be a 30-06, it would have been a miracle for the result. What's happening right now, for it only to be this type of damage, it would have been a miracle. He would have had a very strong neck for that to happen. But that's not the case. I'm just telling you the what ifs. And she made that the reality. That's a sick individual for thinking that. And she had the whole world thinking Not me, but she had the whole world thinking that Charlie had a neck of steel, had a Superman neck. It was just a miracle from God. That's a sick individual for pushing that. And now that she's caught, she's a sick individual for not owning up to that. So that was one of the lies she's told. But she's told numerous lies. Fort Huachuca. You know, if she is placed at Fort Huachuca, if Mitch's story turns out to be true, and she's placed at Fort Huachuca, this changes a lot too. Because not only are you guilty of covering it up, you'll be guilty of planning and plotting your husband's murder. This would be premeditated. You planned it. You were there. You knew what was going on, and you followed through with it. You were part of the plan. You are worse than Tyler Robinson. She needs to know that. You would be worse than Tyler Robinson because you're the man's wife. You're Charlie's wife. And you were in on plotting your husband's murder. Tyler Robinson was just playing his role. Random guy that just said, hey, I'm gonna play my role in this. But you were his wife. That would be even worse than Tyler Robinson. So all of them times where you got up on that stage, she got up on that stage and says she forgives him and evil and just saying all of these different things about Tyler Robinson. She'd been talking about herself. She would be 20 times worse. And I think she was there. Can't prove it yet, obviously, but I think she was there. It's so many things that are lining up to place her there. I think Mitch's story, saying you saw somebody with striking blue eyes and you'll never forget, she has those eyes. Kind of scary. I don't think Mitch has anything to lie about when it comes to that. He's just saying what he saw. Then on top of that, her alibi. First, she tries to give an alibi to a random YouTuber. Weird. Tries to give an alibi to a random YouTuber and shows her kids. Let me see if I can find a picture of that really quick. She shows a picture of her kids and gives it to the random YouTuber and says, hey, I was with my kids at the doctor's office, whatever it is. The YouTuber wasn't even supposed to share the text messages from Andrew Kovac. Once again, Erica putting Andrew Kovac in the mix of all of this, putting Andrew Kovac in the fire. Andrew Kovac is speaking for Erica and says, hey, Erica was with her kids. Here's a picture, blah, blah. The YouTuber wasn't supposed to read the text messages. He wasn't supposed to read the text messages. He was just supposed to, my fault. He was supposed to read them. He wasn't supposed to expose the fact that Andrew Kovac sent those messages and read it word for word and say, here's a text message from Andrew Kovac. He was supposed to read it himself, come on a show and say, Erica was not at Fort Huachuca. I noticed from a credible source. She was with her kids. I seen it myself. I seen the proof. And that was it. But this small YouTuber, way bigger than me, but podcast or whatever. But this guy shows the text thread of him and Andrew Kovac, shows the messages, and then shows a message that says, don't share this. You can see it on the screen. And he says, oh, my bad. I wasn't supposed to share that. My bad, Andrew. It's crazy. It truly is crazy. And so let me see if I can share this really quick. This is the picture that Erica sent Andrew Kovac. Now, what's interesting about this picture is that if she's talking to Andrew Kovac, why is she covering her kids? I don't understand that. If you're talking to Andrew Kovac, your employees, people that have supposed to have seen your kids all this time, why is she covering the faces of her kids? That's for one. Other things too. She's taking a picture of her phone with another phone. If you're talking to Andrew Kovac, just screenshot and send it to him. I don't understand that. Then on top of that, you're covering the faces of your kids as if Andrew Kovac has never seen your kids. This is not supposed to be shared. Remember, this is not supposed to be shared to the public. We weren't supposed to see this, but we are. So if it truly was an accident, then why is she covering the faces of her kids? Number two, her boy is supposed to be, I believe, 16 months. Her boy. This is not a 16-month-old. The man got full kneecaps. This is not a 16-month-old. So I don't know whose kid is this. This is not her and Charlie's 16-month-old boy. Dude, look 3 or 4. I got a 2.5-year-old. He looked way bigger than that. This boy looks way bigger than my kid. And my kid is way older than her boy. My kid is also in the 88th percentile of height for a 2.5-year-old. So he's a pretty big 2.5-year-old. And I'm trying to tell y'all that this boy is way bigger than my 2.5-year-old. This supposedly, allegedly 16-month-old boy is way bigger than my 2.5-year-old. My nearly 36-month-old. She has a 16-month-old and is 3 times bigger than my 30-month-old. Doesn't make any sense. So the picture doesn't make any sense. What she said doesn't make any sense. And the podcaster wasn't supposed to expose any of that. He was really just supposed to read the script, share it with everybody, and we were just supposed to believe it at face value. But then another alibi leaked, or not leaked, Candace shared it. Candace said that Erica's team, whoever this time, reached out to her. Don't know if it's Andrew Kovac, but somebody from her team reached out to her on the 28th with an alibi again for Fort Huachuca. This time, they show a text thread saying, hey, this is Erica texting Charlie. And the text is like, hey, come up and get dinner, blah, 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 on September 8th. I forgot to mention that picture and that alibi with the kids and all that was for September 9th. So nobody was even asking about September 9th. So she showed that fake picture. And then on top of that, this was for September 9th. That has nothing to do with September 9th. We're questioning your whereabouts on September 8th. But fast forward, another alibi was submitted for Erica. This time it was a text thread from Charlie and her. And she was texting Charlie, come get dinner, blah, blah, blah. And that was on September 8th. Now, if it were to be true, it would check out. It would clear her. Problem is, they blacked out Charlie's name. So Candace said, I need you to unblock the name so I can see that you're texting Charlie. That's common information. Everybody knows you can text anybody. You can text yourself. So that's not a crazy thing to ask for. And a lot of people say Erica doesn't have to tell Candace anything. Erica doesn't have to share anything with anybody. Well, she is with smaller YouTubers. So clearly she cares. Y'all can't continue using that. She doesn't have to share with Candace. She's sharing it with people and their lies. So again, that's not Candace's fault. Clearly she cares. Now, if she were to remain silent this whole time and not share with anybody, that's another conversation. But y'all can't say she doesn't owe Candace anything when for some reason she's showing random people who's not even questioning her. She's sending it to people and making them vouch for her. So clearly she cares enough. So just send it to the source. Send it to the person who's questioning you. Shut them up. So that's just one thing. But then Candace says, can you unblock the name so I can see that you're texting Charlie? Click on the contact card so it can pop up and I can see Charlie's number because I have it. They say, oh, well, it was blacked out because we didn't want you to expose, his cell phone number. She said, why would I do that? Then they said, oh, it was blacked out as well because she has a nickname for Charlie that, she wanted to keep private. Who cares about the nickname? It's your husband. You could have named him Pookie. Nobody cares. Charlie Poo, C Pookie. It don't matter. Nobody care about that. That's your husband. Call him whatever. Nobody like. That's the thing, bro. She does this every time. Her and her team do this every time. The things that they deny are stupid and have nothing to do with nothing. And when Candace pointed that out and said, bro, I don't care about the nickname. Just send me a screen recording of you opening up your messages, showing me those messages, and then you clicking on the contact name so I can see that you're texting Charlie. They said that she's too busy. Busy Sunday, dealing with sick kids. We'll get back to you. That was December 28th. Fast forward into 2026 now. Candace has reached out a couple times. Nothing from them. But a couple days ago, they reached back to her with, you would think, a screen recording of what Candace is asking for. Because it's not hard, by the way. This takes 1 or 2 minutes. Screen record it, send it over. You're clear. I will be trying to clear my name from this Fort Huachuca thing as quick as possible if I'm going to do it. If I'm going to stay silent, I'm going to stay silent. But if I'm going to do it, I can't lie on my alibis. But they needed a lot of time to come up with a screen recording. But instead of them sending a screen recording, they send a contact card that just has Charlie's name and Charlie's phone number. Basically saying, hey, Erica has Charlie's phone number. What does that do? Again, irrelevant information that they continue to provide. And I said this in one of my videos yesterday. Either they're incompetent and they don't understand. When somebody asks, can I get a screen recording? And they send a picture. Either Erica's incompetent, either her team around her is incompetent, or I would love to go with this option. They're all smart and they know what they're doing. So they're stalling. They're sending things that don't make any sense. They're lying. They're deflecting. All of it's on purpose because they're hiding the truth. I would rather go with that option. I don't even want to disrespect anybody and say they're incompetent. Erica is smart. Her team is smart. They know what they're doing. But guess what? That's even worse. You're hiding something. So I don't know what it is with Erica, but she continues to lie and do it to herself. Again, this has nothing to do with Candace. It has nothing to do with anybody. If Erica tells the truth, none of this will be going on. She lied about Cabot Phillips. She said she never dated anybody in 5 years. The internet, again, caught on to that lie. Found out that you were dating Cabot Phillips, somebody that is tied to Turning Point USA. Now, I'm interested to know if Charlie knew that was her ex. He could have. Because I've always also admitted that Charlie got played. Charlie also was well aware of the influence Turning Point had. I think he got in too deep with the donors. So he was aware of some of the bad things and decisions that he was making. I don't know if he considered it bad at the time, but he made a lot of bad decisions to lead up into this spot. That doesn't mean he deserved to die from it. So I don't know if he knows that Cabot was Erica's ex. He could have known that. Some people are into that. Some people don't care. I just know she lied about Cabot and saying that she didn't date anybody. But when it turns out your ex is actually somebody that's in this organization that you are the CEO of, that's very weird. Why would you lie about that? That's very weird. Why would you lie about an ex? Not only a random ex, but somebody that literally is in Turning Point. Somebody that is literally trying to do the things that your dead husband has done. Speak, prove me wrong, all of that stuff. That's weird. So Erica has done this to herself. She has been the one lying the entire time about everything. If she doesn't lie about things, we would not be here. So I don't feel bad. She's not a true grieving widow. And I would never apologize for that because the real grieving widows out there agree. So holla at them, not me. But the moral of all of this is that Andrew COVID is close. I think he will be, I wouldn't say the moral of all of this, but Andrew Covid is close. I think he's getting fed up with Erica's lies. And I think he will be the first person to turn and just run far away and spill everything. I hope so. Now, I know that was a lot for Erica, Kirk, and Turning Point and Charlie, but y'all know how I get in that whole investigation. The last thing I wanted to hit on before we get out of here on the first podcast, man, I love the fact that we get back into this for real. Last thing I wanted to hit on was this Minnesota fake daycare situation. You know, a Minnesota woman was shot and killed by the police yesterday. Crazy situation. Nobody deserves to die. Ever. Nobody deserves to die in that situation. So, who is in the right? Who is in the wrong? Both, if you ask me. Both parties. I think that, obstructing or messing with ICE, was the wrong thing to do. But you still don't deserve to die for that. I don't think the cop is going to serve any time, get prosecuted, none of that. He's a cop. So, the second that you not listening and the second that you, drive towards him, even if it's close, that's hard to defend and prosecute a cop on, especially when they're there for something that you didn't even have to be in the way of messing with them. Apparently, she drove from another place to mess with them a little bit. That's not a smart thing to do. Now, as a cop, I'm not a cop, but the perspective I have is that the cop also didn't have to fire dead at the window at her face, shoot at her tires, shoot at anything. That's not her body. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. He didn't have to kill her at all. I think also at the same time, she does not have to bother ICE. And I'm going to keep on, trying to put it out there that I hate the left versus right conversation. I hate the Democrats versus Republican conversation. But if we just being completely honest, the Democrats are the ones that are pushing the propaganda or maybe the agenda of, hate ICE, screw ICE. They're pushing the F the police propaganda. They're pushing that agenda. So these people are out here really going at ICE, trying to really mess with them. And that has came from the Democratic side. They got these people truly thinking that these are evil people, but people fail to realize that the ICE worker or officer has a family at home. Now, are there bad apples in everything? Yes. But we have to have a humanitarian perspective and understand that this police officer, this officer, this federal law enforcement officer has a family just like you do. So I don't want to have to put him in a predicament where he has to choose between him or me. I don't want that for him. I don't want that for myself. But I'm dang sure not going to put that in the hands of an officer who has a gun for him to decide whether he's going to choose his life or mine. I don't want that because he's going to choose his every time, and rightfully so. Now, again, he doesn't have to kill anybody. But again, I don't want to put anybody in a predicament to choose between themselves or me when I don't have a gun. So 2 things can be true. Was he wrong for killing her? Yeah, he didn't have to do that. Was she wrong for obstructing with ICE officers and not listening and doing whatever she can to block traffic and drove from a whole nother place to mess with ICE? Yes. Why? ICE was put out there for the Somali fraud situation with the fake daycares. That's crazy. Hundreds of millions, I think maybe $1 billion was scammed from Minnesota tax-paying people. That is insane. People in that state should be pissed. Their tax dollars that they're working hard for, their hard labor, was being given to people that aren't even from here. That's sending it back to their country. That should piss you off. So that's why initially ICE was launched out there or sent out there. So off of that information, there should be nobody in this country that hears that and says, I'm going to go out there and defend Somalis. I'm going to defend them. I'm going to protect them. I'm going to fight against ICE because F ICE. That should never happen. I don't understand that at all. Tim Walsh should be locked up. It's not good enough that he just steps down from his job. Oh, let me money launder hundreds of millions. Let me steal hundreds of millions to billions of dollars from my own tax-paying citizens of Minnesota. And the only thing I get is I get to step down from my job. Slap right on the hand. That's it. He deserves to go to prison. Stepping down from your job does nothing. Because I guarantee you this, if anybody were to steal from their job, and it's happened, people that stole money from their job, paid themselves crazy money off payroll, all those people, they go to jail. And he's a politician. This is somebody on the highest level that should be well respected enough to handle a lot of funds, a lot of different responsibilities. You got the whole state is depending on you to be a responsible person. And he does this, and the only thing he gets to do is step down. And the problem I have is everybody on the Democratic side is defending him. I seen Kamala Harris post tweets defending him, appreciating him for all he's done. He's a criminal. He stole hundreds of millions of dollars. Or he at least gave it to Somalis. He deserves to go to prison forever. But this is who people vote for. I'm not somebody that's left, right, Republican, Democrat, all that stuff. I just know that when people like that are caught, there's no way somebody out there is like, man, it's okay. You were a great individual, man. We'll miss you as governor, huh? Kamala Harris is that was her running mate. But it comes to a point where you just have to point out bad people. I don't care if you was my running mate or not. You stole hundreds of millions of dollars. These people aren't America first. These people aren't for us first. That's why I keep on trying to tell people it's us versus them. If Kamala Harris actually cared about you, she would have been pissed hearing that about Tim Walsh. She would have been pissed that she had somebody like Tim Walsh next to her in her presidential run. But she's not. She says, thank you. Thank you, Tim Walsh, for all you've done. She don't care about y'all. She don't care about us. I didn't vote for her. I'm just saying in general, these politicians, these people don't care about the American citizens. Tim Walsh was putting money in Somalis' pockets. Tim Walsh was stealing your money and giving it to Somalis. Biden, Kamala, they were stealing your money and giving it to foreigners, illegal foreigners. Now, I'm going to flip it as well. Trump them knew that Tim Walsh was doing this. I guarantee you. It's a reason why they was able to stop the funding to daycare so quick. They stopped that fast. As soon as Tim Walsh thing got exposed, oh my gosh, halt to all Minnesota daycares. Then they got to put on this facade because it's the left versus right, right? They want us to think that it's the left versus right. So Trump has to put on a facade as if he's mad at Tim Walsh. How dare this person do that? Trump them do the same thing. They just haven't been caught yet on that level. They've been caught for many other things. The Epstein files released. Nobody cares. We care. They don't care. Hell, they was like, release them. They know they in them. But they have so much power that it doesn't matter. But Trump them knew that Tim Walsh was doing what he was doing. That's nothing new. Tim Walsh just got caught. So when they get caught, he got to get dealt with. They got to pretend like they're mad. But Trump them is not America first anyway. We see that all the time with the people over there overseas. They put them first. They steal our tax dollars all the time and send it straight to them. So they do the same thing. They knew what Tim Walsh was doing. Tim Walsh just got caught. All these politicians probably do the same thing. I feel like the Republicans do it more so in the churches. Tim Walsh is happy to do it with daycares. They all do the same thing. They all work together. They want us to think that it's left versus right. They want us to fight each other on blue versus red while they chase green. They all work on the same team. It's us versus them. It's not left versus right. They want us to think that. That's why every single thing that goes down, they always try to make it a left versus right thing. Tim Walsh happened. They made it a left versus right thing. No, bro, you just committed fraud. Go to jail. Left, right, blue, brown, green, red, black, white, Hispanic. You're guilty. That's fraud. It's illegal. Go to jail. I don't care what political party you in. But they made it a left versus right thing. Tim Walsh said, oh, those darn conservatives, those darn Republicans. He called Nick Shirley a white supremacist. I've never seen that in my life. An old white man get caught stealing hundreds of millions of dollars, and he blames a white boy that is a YouTuber that is just doing what he loves to do. But a white man blames a white boy for the white boy saying, hey, man, I caught you doing fraud. Here's the paperwork to prove it. And he says, white supremacists. That's crazy. But they made it a left versus right thing. They made Nick Shirley the head of Republicans. Look, the Republicans sent this out. They sent him out to catch Tim Walsh. This was all part of the plan. Like, bro, what? Fraud is fraud. Nick Shirley can be Republican. Who cares? It don't matter who he is. He caught you. At the end of the day, a 23-year-old with a phone caught you. The internet. The internet is powerful. But that's what they try to make this thing about. It's the same thing with ICE. It's the same thing with this woman losing her life. It's tragic, obviously. I don't need to sit here and tell y'all my heart, my condolences. Y'all, it's a tragic situation. Clearly, obviously. The more y'all get to know me, the more y'all understand I'm not going to be the person that's, I'm not extremely professional. So I'm not going to be the person that's going to sit here and give you a segment about how sorry I feel. Clearly, it's a terrible situation. Clearly, nobody should lose their life in anything like this. I don't know her personally, so I'm not going to sit here and be like, I am so deeply sorry. Condolences to her family. Clearly, obviously, I feel bad for the family. But they're going to make this a left versus right thing. Now the people are protesting in the streets of Minnesota, and they're going to go to war with ICE. If you make stupid decisions, you will win a stupid prize. I don't understand y'all because I got a kid. I got a family. My wife and kid depend on me. The last thing I'm going to do is go out there and stick my neck out for a stranger or go out there and fight a cop. My wife would be pissed if she knew I died because I was out there defending Somalis. Or I was out there fighting cops for a change. Change of what? They're doing their job. They're out there trying to figure out the Somali fraud. Somebody said that in my comments the other day or yesterday. They said, man, what if MLK had your mindset? Well, guess what? MLK was MLK for a reason. That's a lot of people's issues today is that they try to be the new MLK when that's already happened. You can fight for change. You can fight for reform. Absolutely. But it's a way to go about it. It's a way to go about it. Also, I don't have that calling. So if somebody's saying, what if MLK thought like me? Well, there wouldn't be MLK. Good thing I'm not MLK. Good thing MLK didn't think like me. That has never been my calling. So if I woke up tomorrow deciding to go out there and start a riot, That wasn't my calling. So if something happened to me, yeah, my wife is gonna be pissed. I have never been an activist. I have never been any of that. So why all of a sudden would I wake up and say I'm gonna go fight an ICE agent? Not that the woman did that. I'm just saying in general. MLK was MLK. Malcolm X was Malcolm X. Everybody that was in the past, in our past history, played a role in something for us to be where we are today. We're free. A lot of people would say that my ancestor would be so disappointed in me. Why? I feel like I am blessed. They would be lucky to be me. So why would I sit here and just, again, I'm not saying you can't, I'm not saying to forget about your past, forget about history. You can remember it, but you can also move on. I'm not trying to relive it. They will be proud. I get to use my voice and speak and say whatever I want to and not get in trouble. I get to work wherever I want to. I get to be work anywhere. I get to do anything in the same space as anybody. Again, does bad apples exist out there? Yes. Bad cops? Yes. Bad ICE agents? Yes. It happens. Evil will never go away. But all the people that's out there that's in the streets of Minnesota now trying to fight ICE agents and this, that, and the third, bro. If you play stupid games, win stupid prizes, bro. They got a job too. They got a family too. I wouldn't want to put nobody in jeopardy to make them choose between going home to their family or they die right here or they get into some type of situation. You know what I mean? I don't want to put them in that predicament because they're going to choose themselves going to home to their family every single time. I don't know why y'all don't understand that, but y'all need to. If an ICE agent, police officer, whoever has the upper hand, not because of their status of being an officer, simply because they have a gun. I don't want him or her to decide between me or them because they're going to choose them every single time. I appreciate y'all for tapping in for the ones that have listened. On the first episode of 2026, we are back. Remember, I am looking for a name of the podcast. So I'm going to need y'all help. Absolutely. I'm going to need y'all help. And I'm going to ultimately decide with the help of y'all. We're going to come up with something and we're going to take the majority of it. Make sure y'all hit the subscribe button, subscribe, share this video. I haven't said that in years, man. It feels weird getting back on YouTube saying that. But make sure y'all hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let's continue to grow this thing, man. Make sure you follow me on all other platforms. I would try to either put it on the screen, put it up here. Also, I could just tell you, it's on TikTok. I don't even know my username. I think it's jshaw.3 on TikTok. My backup page is in my bio on the TikTok. I'll try to put it all in the bio on his YouTube channel as well. And I appreciate y'all. We're back. Let's continue to grow. I will let y'all know the next time I do it. I will go live eventually so we can start doing this live. I'm pre-recording it right now because this was the first day I had to see how this go. But thank y'all so much for always supporting, always listening, encouraging me to do this, holding me accountable to do this. I would love y'all forever. Definitely my family forever. And I will see y'all the next time.